some of the things that we do today, I actually do think, why aren't the insurance or payers doing this? So the amount of money I can tell you that I spend in the U.S. on patient specialty services, the hundreds of nurses that we have out there that take all the phone calls, that help through reimbursement, help through safety questions, help through whatever questions there are, where we're talking directly to patients now, it makes me uncomfortable a bit, but it also, the patients need it. So I feel comfortable saying yes to that, because if I'm in a court of law, why did you do this? I did it because the patients need it and nobody else will do it. And I feel comfortable answering that question. Other questions of kickbacks that we've had issues with in the past, no way. But I think I would love the insurers to help patients more in that regard, but nobody is right now. So if they're going to take our medication and they're in our disease state, I think we owe it to them to do that.
You are a great risk if you are providing care to patients. That is not your area of expertise. Your area of expertise is developing high-quality products. And quite frankly, we in the patient community don't trust you to provide care to us. Mm-hmm. We also don't trust our payers to provide care to us. We trust our providers. I think the key to this is in policy. And Christi was also right. There are a lot of issues that make some of the negotiations on outcomes very difficult. I think there's near universal agreement that that needs to change, and I think that is going to change in the relatively short term. But at the end of the day, we need to transform our healthcare system. And that is not an easy task, but it's not an insurmountable task. As I said before, we are going from fee-for-service to population to individualized care. That is the reality over the next 5 years, and we have to expect our healthcare systems to provide that kind of care where there is trust. And I don't think that's a role that should be for this sector. And I've actually asked a number of executives, how much money has been spent on assistance programs? Filling a gap in the billions of dollars. Can you tell me what was the return for that? Often you can't. When you start to look at these programs that are being thrown out there, they sound good, but really, what is the return you're getting on it? Again, I push you to do the best you can in developing products, engage patients in them. Because for those who've done it, and I also want to use an analogy, and I'm going to steal this from Susan Trent, who works for the Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute. She describes patient engagement this way. It's like in the holidays, when you get a card, you open it, and it's got glitter on the front, and you're like, oh, it's a pretty card, nice, you put it back in the envelope, and then you realize you're covered in glitter. And it's on your face, and you can't get it off, and 3 weeks later, you look in the mirror and you see a spark on your forehead. That's what patient engagement is like, because when you engage us throughout the process, you make much more informed decisions that lead to higher value products that in the very near term are going to allow you to get it into the labeling so that that patient sitting in a high-touch healthcare system, and you see Aetna, Anthem, United, all of them moving in this direction, where they're providing high-touch care to these patients, saying, these are the clinical outcomes that are possible, which one is right for you? That's going to be the future. And that creates a huge opportunity for you to do what you do best.
We can come up with any kind of medicine, but unless that medicine makes a patient better, it hasn't really been a very valuable innovation. And so how do you make sure that whatever medicine you come up with has the right ecosystem around it, that it creates the right outcomes in patients? And we can't just sit, and no player in the healthcare system actually can just sit in our offices and figure out how to do that, because we've all got different parts of the elephant that we're feeling. And so I think it's co-creation. So there are ways to provide value, but we can't just do it ourselves. We need to work with patients, with providers, say what are the things we can do? What are the things you can do? What are the things they can do? That comes back to this partnership with multiple stakeholders being really important kind of from the beginning.